My slogan is cooking with love, wine, and music, because three main things that I feel like should go in any meal, and it makes it so much.
Today is a special day, people. I have a wonderful guest on the show. Her name is Chef Kitchi. Introduce her. She's a chef here in Baltimore, Maryland. An actual chef that actually not only cooks great meals, but uses cannabis as well. Um, she's a master in her craft. She's out of this world when it comes to her delicacies of her taste buds, her masterpieces, and everything. So, without further ado, I'm gonna get her on in here. Hey, how are
Hi.
you? Welcome. Um, I did do my little introduction about you. I'm not sure if you caught that, but um, how is everything?
Everything is good. How are you today?
I'm blessed. I can't complain.
Good.
Um, Before we get started, I'd like to give a second and I'm gonna let you introduce yourself and everything. But the purpose of this podcast or this platform that I'm building is educate the youth on the importance of owning a business. By telling your story is greatly appreciative. It's a blessing that you took your time out to even want to be here to tell your story and tell and educate everyone on the trials and tribulations or the blessings that it has been stored. Okay?
Okay. Well, first, thank you for having me. It
Not a
is
problem.
definitely a pleasure. One of my first live IGs. Woo-hoo. So,
Hey,
excited about that. My name is Chef Kichi. Uh, um,
I'm sorry.
you're fine. You're fine. You're fine. Uh, and my slogan is cooking with love, wine, and music,
Okay.
because three main things that I feel like should go in any meal, and it makes it so much better. The secret ingredient is always love. That makes you different from everybody else. The blood, sweat, and tears is a must.
Absolutely. So, what made you want to get into this field and not just be a chef, but the reason that you opened it up as a business?
Okay, so I've always been cooking. Like,
Hmm.
I've been cooking since my dad taught me the basics. Um,
Okay.
I had a household where my dad did the market runs and the cooking. My
Hmm.
mother just was she was the customer basically. Um, so
The taste tester.
that's it. That's it.
I'm
And
pretty much the taste tester in my house, so I understand.
look, we need those taste testers to keep us going. You know what I'm saying? But
Absolutely.
so I've been cooking for years or whatever like that. And then like after I've had my youngest, I have three girls.
Mm.
After I've had my youngest, I just didn't want to go back driving right away. And it was like this feeling, like I can't really describe it, but it was like a feeling. I'm like, God, what am I gonna do? Like,
Hmm.
what's your next move for me? What do you have? Guide me.
Hmm.
And it was like I was looking at Google or whatever, and Lincoln Tech Culinary popped up. And I was
I
like,
didn't even know they had
okay,
a culinary program.
yeah, right. So I didn't know anything about it. And I was like, okay, well, let me start looking at culinary schools and
Hmm.
seeing, which one I want to go to. And so I did like the more information for Lincoln Tech,
Hmm.
and they called me back. And it was a counselor named Miss Taft.
Hmm.
And she called me, and it was more than just an information session. Like it was just like it was where I was supposed to be. Like it was like God had this specific counselor call me and reel me in.
Right.
And then when we met in person, it was just like it was literally a counseling session. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
And from the tears, the sweating, the nervousness, the faith talk, the everything. And I
Mm-hmm.
signed up. And then
Okay.
when I signed up, that was it. And just
Okay.
been going ever since. But even still, to turn it into a business sense,
Mm-hmm.
I feel like it was COVID. So basically, I was just in my externship at a kitchen, grinding wine actually, in
Mm-hmm.
Randallstown. Go check
Okay.
them out. They are phenomenal. Um,
I heard a great thing.
yeah, and so I'm cooking, and they're like, "Oh, we're gonna close because of COVID and everything," and I'm
Mm-hmm.
like, "Well, God, what am I gonna do? Unemployment is not gonna cut it, okay?"
Absolutely.
And so, just talking to a friend that I've had for years, they were like, "You ever try cooking like everybody else?" They was like, "If they selling plates, you daggone for sure can sell plates." And I was like, "Okay, let me try something." So Mother's Day, what was it, when COVID first started, 2019 or something like that.
Yes. Mm-hmm.
Um, I said I'm gonna just do a crab dip and a sangria, see how this go, and I
Mm-hmm.
sold out.
Wow.
And I said, you know what? I can do this. So then that's when I heard I'm asking people, just send me let me know how it is. Da, da, da. I'm expecting to get some bad things, things to help me grow and everything. And people like, don't you think you need to cook? And I'm like, for real? Like, yeah. I mean, I wasn't in culinary school. We went through the whole business class and all that, da da da. But who's to say out of 22 people in my class, who's to say who's going to start a business from it? You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So I was just like, okay. And then one day I was like, well, what's going to make me different from everybody else? I'm like, it's COVID. One day I had some can of butter. I had some rice and some shrimp left over from a meal I cooked for somebody. I
Mm-hmm.
sauteed some peppers and onions with the can of butter. I was high as a kite. Okay. And I was like,
You actually have one of my
wait
favorite
a
ingredients.
minute. And so I had one of my good friends or whatever. I had him try it, and I was like, "You think I should sell this?" And they was like, "Yeah, this smack, this hit." And I was like, "Okay." And ever since then, it's been here from there. And I keep trying new things. I love it when people call me and be like, "You know how to make this?" And I be like, "No, but we gonna figure it out." And when I give it to them, they like, "Oh, that's it, that's it." And I'm just like, okay, it's nothing but the God working through me. That's it.
Okay, you mentioned a few things, right?
Mhm.
One, the person that inspired you was your dad because he was cooking and he taught you how to cook. Um, what age was you when you first made your first dish?
Um, I want to say so. I had my first child at 15. So
Mm-hmm.
at that point, I've been cooking ever since.
Mm-hmm.
Because it's not just me I gotta feed anymore. I gotta feed her and everything. So that's around where I remember cooking.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
Officially. Uh,
Okay.
yeah.
Okay. Um, to touch on the cooking part, right? Um, I know for me, starting business, I've been doing this for about 20 years now, right? I just started this as a business.
Congratulations.
Because thank you so much. For me, just to give you some background and insight for me, my trials and tribulations, my influence was my grandmother.
Okay.
I remember as a kid, as young as 5, waking up 4 o'clock in the morning, sitting down, having coffee with her. She reading the newspaper and little things of, she used to say things like, hey, don't be a part of business, own the business. Those little things stuck with me too. I'm 40 now, damn near 40.
Mhm.
So that was my biggest influencer. And I don't know if she know what she was doing at that time,
Mhm.
but that little seed planted, so that kind of touched me there when you heard your dad is the one that gave you the insight to want to cook and do the most, right? The
Mhm.
other thing you said and mentioned about pivoting, being able to work on the fly. That is a crucial thing as a business owner, right?
Definitely. Definitely.
So, do you have any other trials and tribulations with though that you came across that you had to pivot that it either turned out really well or really bad?
So I've had, so all my first original support coming out there were friends or people that, were with me
Mm-hmm.
through childhood and everything like that. But then with life, things happen, so they fell off. So now I'm like, who's gonna support me? Who gonna
Mm-hmm.
buy this stuff? Who gonna whatever? You know what I'm saying? And
Mm-hmm.
it's like, okay, being scared to put out the next thing because you don't know how people will receive it. But
Ooh.
knowing that you still gotta be able to either put it out there and fail at it, or put it out there and succeed at it. But either way, you tried it. And
Absolutely.
knowing that it's okay to fail at something, or putting out a menu and somebody like, mm, maybe you should go back and change this or do that. And then you take it down, put it back up, and now you got a customer. You know what I'm saying? Different
Mm-hmm.
things like that. Being able to use your discernment to know what's good for you and your business.
Absolutely. Absolutely. I agree with that. Um, some of the trials and tribulations, even with discernment and trying. I remember trying to start businesses and fixing computers. In my very beginning, I had multiple businesses in my lifetime, but one of my most profitable businesses was my computer repair company, right?
Okay?
Um, so my computer repair company did numbers and things of that nature. But when I first started out, I literally fixed maybe 200 and plus computers for free, just putting it out there just to get people to understand where I came from. Um, was that the same way for you and your process? Because I found that every business is a little different.
Yes. Even now, I still underball myself. Even now, I
Mm-hmm.
still don't pay myself what I deserve. When I don't use machines and all of that other kind of stuff, I literally hand cut everything. I literally I will be up all night chopping up garlic or onions or whatever
Mm-hmm.
from hand with just me, my knife, and my cutting board, listening to music all night long. My mother like, you ever gonna go to bed? You know, but like I'm a firm believer, and not saying I don't have garlic presses and all that other fancy stuff, but it's just like it's something about genuinely putting in that blood, sweat, and tears, that actual genuine love, like
Absolutely.
hearing my grandmother and and just different things like that, and then when your family members be like, okay, you got blessed hands like grandma. And I remember her, but I don't remember like knowing her because she died when I was so young. But
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
different things of that. And then when I'm seasoning and you hear that little voice in your head, like, that's enough, baby. That's enough. Different things like that. Like, I just, I love it. Just hearing from the ancestors. Like, if I don't know a recipe, I'd be like, I need your help today to make this work. And
Absolutely,
we go
absolutely.
from there.
Yeah, spiritual guidance is everything. Everybody has their
Definitely.
own spiritual guidance. I just want to make sure I said that correctly. Um, um, and for me, I believe in Lord and Savior Jesus Christ, and without that, I don't know where I would be, to be blatantly honest. Those blessings that He bestowed upon me, even being here today, is is unheard of. It's amazing how He puts things together. Like as I look back on my past and I see little things like how my grandmother put that little whisper in my ear as a bug in my ear as a kid, right? And then getting up a little bit earlier in age, I remember principals used to sit me down and have that conversation as well, and guidance counselors and a teacher or two. You know, those things matter. And
Mm-hmm.
it's amazing how you could put it all together in a timeline, because at the times you was getting those little, I guess you call seeds, you didn't
Mm-hmm.
realize they were seeds and being planted,
Plan.
right?
Yep. That's it. That's it right there.
Okay, so with all that being said, right, if you could ask, if a child wanted to be a chef just like you, right, and anything you could say to that child to motivate them, what would that be?
Ooh. Um, be yourself.
Mm. Okay.
Because people will hire you just for you. And you hear people say that, but it's true. I've had people where as though they may not have even touched my food or tasted my food, but they've seen my heart on a card that I've left somewhere or whatever, and they're just like, I've seen this 3 times. I've seen this heart 3 times, so I know it's you. Or just, or I've tasted some wings or something, and I'm just like, who is she? Who is she? Just be yourself, and people are either going to love you or they're not. And even if your price is your price too. Don't let nobody change your price, because just like I don't use garlic press and all that other kind of stuff. I literally stand on my feet all night cutting. I don't sit down while I cook. I'm not a lazy cook. I'm a firm believer of standing the whole time you're in the kitchen. I don't know why. Maybe because we stood all day in culinary school or something like that. But I don't. Some people might sit down and cut their peppers and different things like that. I'm on my feet the whole time. So I feel like all of that is reflected in my price. And even still, I still shortchange myself. I've had people where as though they like, after that meal, they've given me a tip just as much as how much the whole meal cost, because they felt like I underbought myself. Different things like that. So, and then also, I'm still trying to understand the whole social media aspect of it. Some people feel like if you're not posting, you're not cooking, you're not relevant, right? But a lot of my customers come from word of mouth. And I'd rather keep a word of mouth than to be on social media trying to post pictures over and over and over and over again. You know what I'm saying? Because people might like it or people might comment or whatever, but half of the time they will never be a customer. Most times your customers come from word of mouth. So
that's true. Word of mouth is the oldest mode of businesses. What's the word I'm looking for? I'm sorry, my mind just went a blank. It's the oldest way to promote your business. Excuse me. Another question. What type of dedication was required, or hours that needed to be put in to be where you at today?
Even more hours than I've put in now.
Okay.
Like you pretty much gotta sleep, eat, breathe it, because I'm also a school bus driver, motor coach operator, hairstylist. I do it all. I'm a hustler, right? So the hustle never stops. But at the same token, it's times where I've missed clients because I was on my school bus and they wanted an immediate response. And on my school bus, I don't pick up my chef phone. You know what I'm saying? So it's like I've missed the client. I've called them back. I've done things, and they're just like, made a sale somewhere else. That's fine. I just look at it as you weren't the client for me. You know what I'm saying? So sometimes all opportunity is not the best opportunity for you.
Okay, that's true. That is true. Let's see, what other questions it was. How would you like to be remembered?
So I'm still trying to figure that out. And the reason why I'm still trying to figure that out is because I just had a conversation with my dad, actually, and he was like, you are a person that God has gifted with many talents. And he asked me, he said, is cooking your purpose? He said, when they say your name, do you want them to say chef in front of it? And I got so, I went in my room for 2 weeks straight and just, I couldn't come out of it because I couldn't figure out what my purpose was. Those words were just is this my purpose? I'm good at so much stuff. So is this really my purpose? And I'm just like, am I consistent enough in it? And he was, and I said, well, this is the thing that I'm most consistent in, but is it my purpose? So it's like, I'm still trying to figure out how I want to be remembered. Do I want to be remembered as the chocolate chef, the cannabis chef, the you know what? It's endless of opportunities, and it's just like I know the vision that God has given me, but it's just like, when do I really start operating out of fear and into the vision, so that way I see how I'm supposed to be remembered.
So I think personally that comes with time.
Yeah.
I think that honestly comes with time. To see your vision, to see your purpose, that definitely comes with time. I think like any great thing, Michael Jordan became Michael Jordan because of his greatness in that field. That's why his name is remembered, right? And for me, to you, I had purchased a few products with Xavier from you and things of that nature. And I literally just called you the chef because that's what I tell Xavier when he comes to you for anything that I need. So I said, hey, call the chef.
Okay.
So that's my name for you because I always butcher everyone's name. So I do apologize for that again. But yes, to me, you're the chef. You could do it a little bit of everything. I think you're very multi-talented in all your crafts, and the reason why I chose you to be on this platform is because of your multi-task of talents, right? I remember as a kid being talented in a few things myself as well, and for me, I got shunned as a kid, and because they said you can't be what's the old saying, jack of all trades or something.
Yeah. But it's like when God gives you so many gifts, how do you choose which one to, like how do you determine which one you're supposed to put your 100% focus in? Because you can't develop them all at one time.
That's true. So I think it's because of which one keeps you the most busy. So for me, this business here is the one that kept me the most busy throughout the last 20 years of doing this.
Okay.
So that maybe that can help out just a little bit more. Not sure on that one, but that's kind of where I'm at today, and then why I'm doing what I'm doing is because I had to come to realization I've been doing this for free anyway, so I might as well make it into a business and then still do it for free and then let that flourish for what it is supposed to be, right? So that could be it. Whatever's one is keeping you the most busy might be your purpose.
Okay, that would be this. I feel like the benefit, regardless of money or whatever, is just being able to, when you have an 80-year-old, you do her birthday party, right? And her daughter tells me how she ain't want nobody else to cook. She wanted to cook her own food for her party because nobody else was going to get it right. And when they choose you to be the chef, and she grabs your hands and she says, baby, you got blessed hands. That is payment enough. You know what I'm saying? And when she's the cook of the family, like 80 years old, still cooking stuff from scratch for that family. Whenever they have events, she's cooking. And when she pulls you aside, takes time to tell you your hands are blessed, I just felt like that was my grandmother speaking to me. Like,
definitely. I think that's your purpose, love. I think that's your purpose.
You might be right.
All right. So you said something a little earlier about, the self-gratitude, right? That gratification of seeing a happy client, seeing a happy customer. What was it like when you got that first customer, right? Does everybody remember their first, right? I know for me, my first customer, I remember I did a PC repair
I supposed to charge them like $200, but I only charged them $50, right?
Mhm.
I charged them $50. I wiped the computer clean, put a new operating system on it, and did a data transfer for him from one hard drive to another because he had problems, right?
Mhm.
I charged him $50. For me, that $50 felt like $10,000 because that was my first customer, and I ain't really know too much of what I was doing.
Mhm.
So here I am today, understanding that it was a blessing to be able to remember that first customer. So what was it like for you when you got your first customer and everything?
So when I got my first customer, I didn't even charge my first customer.
Okay.
So it was for me, especially with a lot of new things, I will find a person that may or may not have tasted something, and I will pretty much donate for them to try it, whether
Mm-hmm.
it's a go or miss. And it's one thing to when you ask a customer, "Hey, your your send me your reviews on it." But it's
Mm-hmm.
another thing to sit there and watch a customer eat it. I try so hard not to look at people eat my food
Mm-hmm.
because it's just I don't. But when you sit there and you watch them and you see it before they can even speak it, it's like that's it.
Okay.
That's enough for me.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and my kids are foodies too. So if it's really something I'm unsure about, especially that youngest one, because when I was in culinary school, she was my taste tester. She was eating bison, venison, like she was eating it all.
I
So if she
understand.
say, "Mommy, no, that ain't it," and that's exactly how she say it, she'd be like, that ain't it," and I'd be like, "All right, then, put the drawing board." And she only almost 4. She'd be like, "Mommy, that ain't it," or she'll be like, "Mommy, that's bussin'. That's it right there." I'd be
Okay.
like, "All right, okay."
That's funny. That was my next question, right? For me, the kids is everything, right? I have grandbabies and stuff like that, and the grandbabies, I love them because I tell them all the time, I love your truthfulness, right? I
Mm-hmm.
tries not to dog their truthfulness for nothing, right? So I
Right.
love their truthfulness to the fullest, and that was my next question, but you kind of answered that already in the last thing about how truthful are your kids when it comes down to your food? Do they really just tell you, "Hey, this is horrible,"
Yeah, they
or
do. And so I normally don't cook with salt, like at all. But it was a dish, and she was like, "Ma, you need some salt." She was straight like, "Ma, you need some salt." I said, "Salt?" I said, "Okay, I tried it." I'm like, "You sure salt?" I'm like, "Something missing, but salt." Added a little sprinkle at a time. It was the salt. I said, "You know what?"
look at that, look
That
at
was it. My kids are the difference. I'd be like, "Y'all sure I should try this?" Or whatever. And they like, I like people that's gonna be openly honest. Like, don't worry about
that.
hit like and I can tell when, for instance, if it's been a long day and I cook something and everybody plate still full, I'd be like, "Dang, it wasn't good." And they'd be like, "Mom, we know you just tired. We ain't gonna complain about it though." All right.
That's a blessing. At least they consider it. At
Yeah.
least, because you could
Sometimes
have some little ones. I mean, my little ones be like, "This ain't it. We need something else." So
just we just gonna eat some cereal. It's okay. It's okay. Um,
that's what's up.
but I actually took a sabbatical because I was trying to find like my dad's question like really resonated in my spirit. Like
Hmm.
it was really there because I'm thinking
Hmm.
about what's the next move that I need to make with this. If this is going to be my purpose, do I 100% step out on faith, throw that little mustard seed and run with it? Or do
Hmm.
I still have one foot in, one foot out? What do I want to do?
Hmm.
And I didn't cook all summer. I have not
Oh wow.
cooked for my children all summer. And
Hmm.
when I cooked, I didn't even have to call them for dinner. And when I tell you they have said I haven't missed since, I was like, maybe that was God telling me I needed to sit in my purpose for a season to see if it really was my purpose, if that makes sense.
Oh, that makes a lot of sense.
Yeah.
That makes a lot of sense. Okay. So we talked about the purpose. We talked about pivoting. We talked about the person that influenced you the most. Um, what do you see your business in the next 5 years?
Ooh. So I okay. So when I did my business plan in culinary school, right, it was not to be private chef.
Okay.
It was a whole vision, business, all of this. But pivoting caused me to start with private chef, right?
Okay.
That's the heart. That's Chef Kichi. That's what you see. That is me, basically.
Okay.
You got to stay tuned for what's coming next.
That's fair. That is fair.
It's going to be, I promise you, it is going to be something Baltimore hasn't seen. Because it ain't here yet. So the vision that God has given me, it's going to make me stand out.
Well, hopefully I'll be around for the ride. I would definitely love to trademark and document whatever I can. As I said before, this platform is literally for the Black business owners to have somewhere to come, say their piece, educate the youth, educate each other on better business practices. I'm sure there's a bunch of young women, young men out here that want to be chefs just like you. Personally, I like cannabis a lot. So, so
keeps us sane. I'm just saying. Because sometimes an edible and a bottle of water will take you all day. Okay.
Absolutely, absolutely. It takes you a long way of not being in other places you don't want to be. You know. So, just to understand that you was an actual chef and not making things just because you're good at it says a lot and says volumes, at least to me. And I just want to give you your roses while you're here and tell you thank you for being as great as you are in your craft.
Another thing I wanted to add is so many people work with cannabis nowadays, but then it tastes nothing but like the plant.
That's true.
And I feel like, so for me, the reason why I started, besides the fact that people was home with COVID doing nothing, they had money to waste, I don't like tasting the plant when I'm eating an edible. Like, I won't eat it. Like, I've bought so many edibles and it tasted straight just like cannabis. I don't want to eat it. If I'm eating a brownie, I want it to taste like the brownie, but give me the side effects of the cannabis. If I'm eating cheesecake, or if I'm eating just because I'm infusing food too, rice, string beans, whatever. If I'm eating the food, I want to taste the food. But then here's the question that I get all the time. After you eat the cannabis-infused food, do you still have the munchies?
I know I do. I don't know how to say stop. So that's my problem. And I'm working on that. Me and the Lord going to work on that just a little bit.
Don't eat the whole crab cake at one time, okay?
I don't know how to do that. So I know for a fact. I ain't going to lie to you. If you put a crab cake in front of me, I'm going to eat the whole crab cake. So we're almost done in this pretense of everything, right? Like I was saying before, you answered most of my questions, and again, I thank you so much for being on. One of the other questions I had, I think you answered it. What would you want to be remembered as? Yes, you answered that one. Pivoting, we talked about that. And if you could name this episode, because again, this episode is also not only going to be on this platform, but it's also going to be moved over to YouTube, right? So that way everyone can be able to see it and things of that nature, which I would plaster that at the end of this program as well. But the YouTube page, if you wanted to name this episode, what would I would like you to name it something that's unique to you.
Ooh. I have to say it's going to be my slogans. Cooking with
Okay.
love, wine, and music. Will it be
Cooking
empty?
with love, wine, and music.
And can I satisfy your mouth's desire? Those are 3 things that I ask myself when dealing with a client. How can I satisfy their mouth's desire? How can I create a whole experience in their mouth where it's an experience worth remembering? When someone eats greens and be like, well, what meat did you put in those greens to make them taste like that? And you be like, I didn't use meat at all. And they be like, say what now? Come again? How,
Yes.
Sway? And I'm just like...
That's a thing in our community.
Yeah. Cooking
you gotta
with
have some type of meat.
The reason why I took out meat with like all my vegetables is so therefore it's either vegan, vegetarian, whatever you want to be. It's versatile, you know.
Mm-hmm.
I don't gotta use pork or turkey necks or whatever, and yet it's just as flavorful, just as powerful, and it's still a whole experience in your mouth. I say I don't cook with meat. They be like, let me try those. Okay, give me 2 of those to go. Okay.
That's normally how it be.
Yeah.
Keep doing that craft, because if you could take the skeptics and make them believers, you're on to something, man.
Yeah,
you're definitely doing something different. Definitely doing something different.
Yeah.
So, do you have any last words or anything that you would like to say to the youth, to anyone that's aspiring to be you? Anything.
Don't let other people's fear of the unknown affect your faith for your vision. God gave you the vision, not them. So people will always project their fear onto you. But always, as long as you have that little mustard seed, that's it. It's going to take you a long way. Just don't lose that faith.
Okay. All right. Well, say your name one more time, because I was about to butcher it again.
Chef Kichi.
Chef Kichi.
Yes.
Thank you so much for your time today. Everything has been a blessing, and I appreciate it so much for you coming on again. I just want to be able to give you your flowers while you're here for doing a great job in your craft and what you do. Okay?
Thank you so much. Thank you. I enjoyed myself. I look forward to seeing the next businesses to come. And I just look forward to working with you more. And I'm excited about what's to come.
Absolutely. I do have a few guests lined up. I think one of them is your friend. You know that.
Yeah.
So we'll go from there.
All right.
And thank you so much for your greatness. Thank you so much for your blessings today. Thank you so much for just being you always.
Thank you.
Okay? All right.
Nothing else.
That's true. That is so true. And thank y'all so much, everyone that was here to watch in Chef Kichi.
Thank you guys for joining us.
Yes, thank you for joining us. Thank you for being a part. Thank you for all y'all support today and the hearts and everything and the greatness. Thank y'all so much. I want y'all to have a great and blessed day. And Chef, we'll be talking in a few, okay?
All right. See you guys.
All right.
Have a good night.
See everyone. Goodbye.